On this episode of the Star Trek Universe podcast, we are talking about Star Trek Discovery, episode 303, People of Earth. After these words from somebody.
Welcome to the Star Trek Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
I'm David C. Robertson.
What's up, buddy?
I don't know, man. Nothing much. Just digging on Discovery still.
Yeah, man. I feel like they're doing a really good job of bringing this show back to sort of the roots of Star Trek. This felt like very much a Star Trek episode, but it still feels like they're building out the world even more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The idea that Earth has become this overprotectionist society. That seems really interesting, and clearly a lot of things to explore there. And like this episode felt like the kind of thing they could have a battle with any planet. I mean, this is almost exactly the plot of what's that movie? Insurrection. You know?
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Aliens attacking. Oh, it turns out they're the same species, but the twist is it's so deep in the future that this is what Earth is now, and that's a neat twist on this story. I kind of dug it.
What cracked me up and frustrated me simultaneously about Earth is once they go down there, they really don't show us any more than like all the other Star Trek shows showed us of Earth. I was like, yep, there's what used to be Starfleet Academy. Okay, there are the grounds. Yep, that looks the same. Mm-hmm. And there we are. Like,
yep.
I was like, I still have no idea what I was looking at. The most we got was what? Cisco's restaurant?
Yeah, it's like San Francisco and one restaurant in New Orleans or whatever, and that's the entirety of Earth that we've seen, and some scrapyard that Tom Paris was working in. Mm-hmm. I really like. I feel like that was the appropriate place for these particular people to go.
Yeah,
I don't think that was. Obviously, it's probably a production issue, like of they didn't want to send them all to separate places, so they needed to have them all in one place. And where does that make sense to be? Except for Starfleet.
The great thing about it. The thing that I really liked about that, because it was frustrating to some degree, but then again, it was fantastic because they all went back to Starfleet Academy, and that great big tree was still there, and one would purport that it was the tree that Picard talked about sitting under to study. He sat under that tree to study when he was a cadet, and in the episode, The Drumhead.
I was wondering what that tree was about. I don't remember that tree.
Yeah, and he talked about it, and one of the guy he was talking to was like, I did too, and it was like, it's one of those like linking experiences for Starfleet officers to study under that tree.
That is very cool.
That was a cool little, reference to the past.
Yeah, very cool connection. And there's, it's neat. This whole thing is neat.
It's a nice foreshadowing of some things being timeless.
Yeah. This is the first, I think, episode we're getting. It's sort of what the status quo will be on this new series, Mm-hmm. Finally, Burnham has met up with the crew. Saru has been, is placed as captain, which was very nice. Very, very nice. First alien captain. Mm-hmm. Of the main ship. That's really cool.
If we don't count like Star Trek 2 when Spock was, technically the captain of the Enterprise.
Oh, right. I guess on a main series for we don't know how long this will last, but I still think it's funny that they've had a different captain every season. I think that's kind of a neat thing about the show so far.
Don't kill Saru.
Yeah, right. I really, him being in the captain's chair makes me really worried for him.
Yeah. Being the captain of Discovery is essentially the same as being like the mayor on Arrow.
Yeah.
You're gonna die.
Captain of Discovery, the new red shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I dug it. I like they're playing a lot with Burnham's character. She has one now, which is really neat.
Oh, that's not fair.
I'm just teasing. Like before, a big part of her character in the early seasons is her half Vulcan, like her raised by Vulcan thing, and so she's often suppressing her emotions, which like is great, and I love it. But I feel like for a main character, sometimes it's tough. Because she's hard to, I don't know. It's hard to connect with her sometimes. She's suppressing her emotions. It's like, it's a thing, and it works really well sometimes. It's like for Spock and Tuvok, and I don't know. Burnham, it never really resonated with me. Like, I feel like she's always been at her best when she lets her emotions go a little bit, you know?
I was thinking about how so far in this season of Discovery, and we got it some more last season as well, but there has been a reconciliation of Burnham's Vulcan demeanor, and we have seen her become more and more human and embrace her human side, her emotional side. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I don't think it was intended. Maybe it is or has been the last, half year or so, but I would love to find out, and I don't think they'd ever actually say it. I would love to find out if the writers were really just like charting Michael's course with what they hope the fans will become, because so many Star Trek fans either think that all Starfleet officers should act like they're Vulcans, or Star Trek fans act like they are Vulcans and they get aggravated and agitated with anything that's like, I saw people like on Facebook talking about this episode, like the scene between Michael and Tilly, the emotional reunion. Mm-hmm. They were actively talking about how there's too much emotions and it made them sick. And I'm like, you guys are crazy. That was a fantastic scene.
Yeah, it was a really nice scene.
So, like, I like the idea of Michael Burnham becoming more emotional and embracing her human side and her not Starfleet side. I like that notion as an allegory for the fan base. Like, now it's time for human beings to be a part of the fan base.
That's funny. That's a funny meta thought. I don't know that it's there.
I don't know that it's there. It's a lot like my Zephram Cochrane and First Contact with Gene Roddenberry theory.
Right. I think this is more that, like, Sonequa Martin Green has a wide range and they want her to be able to play it. Like, she's a really great actress, and I ever since the first episode and her just desperation, that was such an amazing scene. And this season, so far this season, I've really enjoyed her embracing her emotions a little more, and as you said, her embracing sort of the non-Starfleet of it all.
Yeah, I like that she's lost something in that year and gained a sense of freedom that she doesn't want to give up yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And gained a sense of, I don't know, doing what you have to do. Like, she is less Starfleet. And that's been a part of her character since the very beginning. That's the first episode, But now she's like no longer in a world where that's shunned. That's like the status quo here. And she's kind of thriving.
Yeah.
And I dig it, man. I dig it. And what do you think of Book, like, getting a uniform on? I know it was for other reasons, and I don't know that he'll have it on regularly, but like, I was like, man, I like to see that guy in a uniform. Come on, join Starfleet, Book, do it.
You know what? That's interesting that you're rooting that way, because I didn't feel like it suited him at all. And what's more, I was like, no, I don't. I was like, I don't want Burnham to rejoin Starfleet. I really do. I like her doing her own thing out in the,
No, I'm with you. If I'm being like really honest, I'm with you that I don't want Book to be Starfleet. I like him as who he is. I like him as sort of this, to me, he's a very Han Solo-esque character right now, I
was about to say, he's the new Mal Reynolds for me. Like,
which is the Han Solo character. Yeah. Yep. Like, he's great. I love him. And I don't really want him to be part of the Federation, but I still, something about seeing him in the uniform. I dug it. I guess I just love a man in uniform,
Yeah, and in my head, I feel like Michael accepted the role as first officer out of loyalty to Saru, but I don't think she really wants it, and I don't think she'll be there at the end of the season.
Huh.
I think when she said no to that captaincy, that was the end of her Starfleet career in her heart and in her head.
Well, I don't know if I agree that was in for her. I do think that is where I thought it was going. And I do think that's a possibility, but I don't think so. I think it may be somewhere in the season that will be the case. But I have a feeling that something's going to happen that will require her to come back,
Well, I mean, she is back. I mean, but...
No, I mean, like, after... if she tries to leave, something will suck her back in, as it were.
I mean, yeah, probably, but... that'll be something else for her to work through.
Yeah. Let's talk about our new friend, the Trill.
Yeah, she's not a Trill, though.
Right. No, I'm sorry. The symbiote. I always think of the Trill as the symbiote, but they're not. The Trill is the. Do we have a word for the symbiote other than symbiote?
They're just symbiont. Yeah.
The symbiote. All right. Symbiote. Symbiotes from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting and exciting. They're bringing back a classic species of Trek. Like I love I love Jadzia Dax and that character. And that's really, I know the Trill were a thing on TNG, but they were really explored a lot more on DS9. And so this feels like a callback to DS9. And I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of, because she has not yet awakened her memories from the past life because she's a human. I have a feeling we're gonna slowly get those revealed, which was a lot of the stuff they did with Jadzia, where she had repressed memories from that the serial killer or whatever.
Yeah, so such a good episode. Yeah.
So it's a great episode, and I'm feeling we'll get something similar to that over the course of the season with this. What's her name? Do you know?
I don't remember. Oh gosh, what was it?
Her other form was Hal or something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds like something like that. Anyway,
I can't remember.
The old Admiral. It's all good. I can't either. The Admiral, who she had been. It was a neat reveal. I liked it. It looked like she's just a smart 16-year-old, and they were picking on her and kind of playing at her. And that was always a fun part of Jadzia's character, is that she's this young, beautiful, unassuming, gets underestimated all the time lady.
Admiral Senna Tal was what?
Tal, not Hal, yeah. Senna
Tal. Tal.
Yeah. I just thought that was neat that she, this is even going to be more extreme because she's as I said, 16-year-old girl, and now we know now that she may be hundreds of years old.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what do you think the likelihood she's Dax?
I hope not.
I hope not too, all. But kind of hope so. Because the connection would be fun. Oh, it'd be fun.
Her name is Adira.
I know. There's all kinds of reasons it would be a bad idea. It makes the universe smaller, all that stuff. But it's just a possibility. It's just kind of a neat thing to be possible, especially that it's 1,000 years later.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's about 850 years later for her. But that Dax could still be running around, or be neat if we ran into Dax somewhere in this world. I don't know how long the symbiotes normally will live.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it wouldn't be so crazy if it was Dax. It's just, every time you get one of those little callbacks or references, it just makes the universe that much smaller. So
I agree. Although, how many Trill joined Starfleet?
I don't know.
I want to say I remember that was a fairly novel thing for her to be in Starfleet. I may be misremembering that.
And not all Trills have symbionts either. So
sure. But I'm just and I'm assuming Tal, the former form of her, was a Trill, but I don't know. So
yeah,
I'm assuming what happened is he was a Trill who was still on Earth when the Federation collapsed or whatever, and he needed to stay on Earth, and then they were out of Trill hosts, and they had to give it to this young girl.
Yeah, I mean, in TNG's The Host, humans couldn't serve as hosts to Trill symbionts, but
Medical science has gotten better, though.
Yeah. That has obviously changed by canon. And, but yeah, it doesn't look like she can access all the memories.
Yeah, at least yet. I'm just fascinated by it. And even just like having, here's another great, I think this is more likely to, I joke about the Dax thing. I don't think that's the case, but I think I still am like, even if, like, say, should they go back to the Trill homeworld and we just get to meet Dax again, that'd be neat. Mm-hmm. But the more important point I want to make is, like, I think she is probably a way in to finding out what happened at the burn. Mm-hmm. Because once she recovers some of her memories, she might have some memories that can help them kind of recover what happened back then.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Just like, oh, no, you have memories that we don't have access to? Of course you're going to be a well of information at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's the way Western narrative works.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny how you can... Me and you watch a lot of TV, and we assimilate that TV, and we start to, like, just realize things without even knowing. Like, we don't... It's not like we think about it. We just, like... Sometimes we'll watch an episode of something and just be like, oh yeah, that's going to happen now. Like we said with that human being in the big bug suit. It's just like, that's just how this is going to work.
I don't think we talked about it on this version of the show.
Oh, sorry. For a little peek behind the scenes, we started recording and then had a little technical difficulty and started over.
Yeah.
So this is the second time we've done this. We did the first 5 minutes and then we stopped and started over.
Yeah.
So... yes, you're right. We didn't. We had talked about on the other version of this podcast that is lost to time. This alien Wynn that turns out to be human who is attacking the Earth. We very much immediately knew when we were watching the show, like, oh, that's going to be a human. Surely there's a human in that helmet.
Yeah, mine was more of like, I hope that's not a human. And it totally was.
Yeah, I knew it would be as soon as I saw it. But part of the reason I knew that it would be is because we know that part of space so well. And like all warp travel is gone. No one can travel around as fast as they used to. So, like, who is this guy if he's not a human? Like, I knew that it was going to be a species we knew. I knew that, like, so and it being a human just made a lot of sense thematically.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, it does. It's just, making the universe smaller for me. Like,
I think that...
I have to figure, there would be alien families, like extraterrestrial families stuck on Earth and in colonies surrounding Earth.
Yeah.
After the burn.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. It just seemed too like it was too much like that to me. Too much like what it was gonna be.
Yeah, the helmet was too alien. Yeah, it was just too much.
That's what I mean. Like, I saw it and I was like, we don't know anything that looks like that. It's a little too bug-like. I just have a feeling that's just gonna be a human in a bug suit. What'd you think of the return to Starfleet?
The return to Earth was
right. That's what I mean.
The return to Earth was frustrating and fun because, one, in the frustration camp, we saw pretty much exactly as much as Earth as Star Trek ever showed us. Yep. It was like, here's San Francisco Bay, here's Starfleet Academy. Here are the grounds. We get it. The cool thing about it was they went to the tree. They went to the big tree that they studied under, and they all had that shared experience. And that is a reference to TNG's The Drumhead, where Captain Picard talked about how he used to study under this big tree on the Starfleet grounds, and whoever he was telling in Drumhead, the guy he was telling in the Drumhead was like, "Oh, me too. I had that experience too." So yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that's neat. So it's like a common experience to all Starfleet people to have this tree, and it's neat to go back there 1,000 years later, and now it's just this ancient tree.
Whether or not it's the exact same tree or not is a nice concept. It's nice thematically that that more things change, the more things stay the same, and that, some things are timeless, some ideas are timeless, like the Federation, like the concepts and the ideals of the Federation.
Yeah. I thought I remembered this, and I just wanted to throw it out there that some trees can live up to 5,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that this is the same tree, or, at least that's what it was meant to be.
I think it was meant to be.
Yeah. I love that.
I saw some fan nitpicking and saying, well, Picard said that there was a bench by the tree, and there was no bench.
Oh, yeah. There's no way a bench could be removed in 1,000 years. Shut the fan. Shut the hell up. You're nitpicking too much. We nitpick plenty. You're going further than us. We say what's the proper amount of nitpicking.
I choose to believe that the universe is smaller than it need be, and that it was the same exact tree.
Mm-hmm. I don't have so my thing with nitpicking and like deciding what makes sense in canon or not is like, is it easily headcanonable? Then like, fine, just let it be headcanoned. I don't need everything. I don't need them to tell me everything like, oh, I don't need them to show up and step out of the thing and go, oh, it looks like they took the bench away. Like I don't need that explanation. It's a really easy thing to figure out what could have happened to a bench. Like, what? Yeah, I don't know. That's silly.
I've got 99 problems and a bench ain't one.
That's right. We've got 99 problems this episode and the bench is not one. But no, I joke because this episode's good. I liked it.
It was a pretty good episode.
It's a little simple.
Yeah.
It's a little simple, a little expected. No new trail blazed here.
No, but it introduced some people.
Yeah.
Mainly Adira. And that was important.
And the United Earth defense or whatever, which is, yes. I have a feeling that's going to come back. I mean, we're seeing the beginnings of what could build to be another Federation. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I liked about it so much was that, like, aside from, the emotional reunions, but I really just love that, like, the United Earth people were just like, that's not going to work. He's done this. And then they're just like, boom. Nope. This is how it's going to be. We're going to show you the way. This is how Starfleet acts. This is how you should act. And now this is not going to be a problem anymore. Yeah. I love it. I dug it.
I love it. It feels very cool to have the Federation, which is sort of the Earth's like legacy out in the stars, that has disappeared, has now jumped into the future, and its first visit was to Earth, and like to do the thing that the Federation does throughout the galaxy, solving these smaller disputes that are causing problems on planets, yeah. And it like got to do that for its parent in a way, like I thought that was cool.
Absolutely. I dug it.
Also, I don't know where we're supposed to believe about the spore drive, because I thought they were like, the spore drive's bad for the environment or something last season. Right? Didn't they like I get why they'd use it in a pinch.
I don't remember what exactly happened.
Like, that species that they found out was like sentient, that was living, and every time they jumped, it was damaging their environment.
Well, was that because mirror stamets did a thing to it and like infected it or something?
Huh. I don't remember. I remember they like left Culver there, and maybe that was the problem. They left Culver there. Culber, sorry. Maybe that was the issue. Maybe it was the fact that Culber was there and not just, being using the mycelial network at all. But so I don't know. The mycelial network and the spore drive, I'm excited that it's still working. I'm really excited because now we get a chance to like really see. I was a little worried last episode or a few episodes ago that they were going to be working on such a small area of space. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they've already like not only gotten out of that small area of space, but they've decided that they can jump anywhere now. And I just love the idea that we could like head over to the Dominion, see what's going on. We could head over to, the Borg and see what's going on. Like they can just jump anywhere in the universe and like get an update for us fans on what the universe looks like in 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped for that.
All right. It says under the mycelial network on Memory Alpha, it says in the mirror universe, Paul Stamets utilized the mycelial network in order to build a super mycelial reactor. However, the technology had a major flaw. Its orb element pulled power directly out of the network in a way that prevented it from regenerating itself, and in fact poisoned it, spreading infection back up into the mycelial system. This caused the network to deteriorate across the entire multiverse in a manner which might eventually have proven irreversible. Effects of the corruption including the dying of prototaxites, something or another.
Yeah, but you're talking about the Mirror Universe episode.
No, but this is it was affecting the entire multiverse.
No, I know, but they solved that when they destroyed the reactor. I'm talking about season 2 when Culber had been left in that other environment, and they had that episode where they jumped into the mycelial network and they hung out there, and they had to like go down and like commune with some mycelials.
I think that was season 1.
Okay.
I don't know. It says but it said if the damage was allowed to continue, life as we know it across the universe might have ceased. The crisis was seemingly averted when the Discovery managed an attack on the Charon, the ship on which the super mycelial reactor was installed, and severed its orb from the network.
Yeah, I remember.
And the network
all that
began regenerating immediately, and that's all they say about it on Memory Alpha. So if
I remember all of that, I'm talking about the other episode. You know what? I'm like I said, it's fuzzy
because all of season 2 was Red Angel, Pike, all that stuff.
Right. Well, when did Culber disappear? Remember
season
Culber?
1.
Was that okay? Maybe you're right.
I thought
you might be right. I'd have to go back and look at it. It's been too long. I'm gonna blame COVID. This was pushed back, right? Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
I don't
know. I mean, I think it was, but
yeah, that's why I don't remember things.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, loving this episode. Loving the new status quo. Ready to see the rest.
Yeah, so far I'm good. I don't know what else to say about it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, I think that means we're wrapping up. I think this episode was great. I like, as we mentioned, I don't think it blazed too much new trails. And so I think that it's sort of a simple conversation, that it's just a good, solid Star Trek episode with some interesting twists and cool character development on all these reconnections of characters that have lost each other, and Burnham's character changing drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Embracing her emotions more, embracing a different take on things that's like kind of anti-Starfleet, you know?
Mm-hmm.
She was a courier, you know? And when Saru hears that, he goes, "You were a courier?" You know, like, because he only has experience with one courier, and it was that guy that they had to fight last episode.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, well, couriers, I guess, are more complicated than I realized, or you were a bad person." I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat.
And they used the 6-digit star date, not including the decimal, and apparently that they've kept it consistent with Next Generation, DS9, and Voyager, and Lower Decks.
Nice. Love it.
So that's cool. Here's a little continuity note from Memory Alpha. Stamets confirms to Adira that Discovery left the year 2258, which means that the later part of Season 2 takes place at the same time as Star Trek in the alternate reality in the 2009 movie.
Interesting. That's rad.
Yep.
That's cool.
And Jonathan Frakes directed this episode. I don't know if you noticed that.
I saw that. I always liked his directing. I do think that, like I said, I think this is a fairly simple episode. It's good. Mm-hmm. It's good, but simple.
Someone, I don't remember who it was now, and it may have been on Twitter or it may have been on YouTube, mentioned that they think that we should do the math. They told us we should do the math, and reminded us that we saw the control nanites go into the floor, and that it wound up in Detmer's headpiece.
Yeah, which that definitely crossed my mind. I think the only reason I didn't bring it up is because I hope that's not the case.
I really hope that's not the case too.
I was kind of feel like we should be done with Control.
I want to be done with Control.
Like, I get that could easily be a thing that came back. So yeah, It's very possible. Thanks for that feedback. We probably should have mentioned it. That was too little. That was too little. Stu Little said the opening recap revisited Leland's death, showing his control nanos bleeding out into the floor. Detmer has a cybernetic implant. Do the math. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good call, Stu. I definitely crossed my mind as that, especially as the recap was playing. I was like, oh. They're there still. But yeah, I don't know. It seems sloppy of them. Like really sloppy of them. That is supposed to be some sort of containment chamber. So like,
yeah,
it seems really sloppy of them not to have like deactivated those nanites before they, opened it or whatever.
And they may have. Who knows? Probably not though. This was why it was confusing me. We had a comment on YouTube from Stu Little that also says, what'll come first in Star Trek? An alien captain of the main ship or an Australian character? You have your answer, Stu.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know where you sit on this.
I'm guessing he wants an Australian character. Is Stu Little Australian?
Yeah.
Let us know next time, Stu.
He has an accent of some sort.
Sweet.
I heard him one time on DC Film Squadcast.
Nice. Yeah, I dug it, man. Good episode. Yeah. I'm excited that we're only a couple days away from the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did kind of wait a little while on this one.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was my bad this week. I was very had a lot going on this week. A lot of craziness. A lot of traveled a little bit. Had a lot of gigs. Just trying to keep the lights on around this old podcast studio.
What?
I don't know.
I don't know why, but that's really funny. It's like I feel like we're like, I don't know, some kind of derelict station in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, man, we are
cranking generators and shit.
There was a time, when we spread across the galaxy, No. But now, after the burn, we are but a derelict ex-Federation trying to hold on to the scraps of ideals that we once held.
I'm not. I've completely abandoned my ideals.
Oh yeah, don't worry. They're slipping. And with that, we will bid you guys adieu and have a good one. We'll be back in a couple days. Hopefully we'll be able to do it before the weekend, this weekend, because I do want to keep up with this series and get them out quick because I like the show a lot. I think it's my fate. Like I don't know. This episode wasn't as, I guess, immediately classic to me as that first one was. I guess the last two haven't been. They were solid. They're really solid. Yeah.
Shine's worn off, though, a bit.
Definitely, that first episode was just so imaginative and so good and so interesting that I really thought it set a new bar. So it's gonna take another really killer episode to match that. Yeah, but it's been very solid since then, and I'm very much enjoying the world they're building. This 1,000 year in the future world. Dig it.
Yeah, I'm down.
We will talk to you next time. Peace and Jolan True.
Cake is eternal.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.